A very common question we get from people who have been convicted of crimes in Arizona is, how do I clear my criminal record? How do I get that off so that it doesn't follow me around? I need to apply for jobs. I need to apply for housing. I just want it off my record so I can move on. It's closed and I want to continue forward with my life. How do I clear it up? Unfortunately, Arizona doesn't have the best laws for clearing criminal records. Some other states have what are called expungements, which means you can go through a formal process and they will expunge your record. The definition is sort of what it sounds like, but basically they're clearing it off. It's like it never happened. Nobody can find it. They can't search for it. It's not going to show up on any background checks. It's not going to show up on public records. Arizona doesn't have that. We do not have expungements. The closest thing that we have is what's called a motion to set aside your conviction. A motion to set aside a conviction, it does a little bit more than it used to. Prior to 2019, it really didn't have a lot of teeth, but the law was updated. Basically what it means is that if you go through the process and a judge grants it, it's a formal motion that you need to file, and if a judge grants it, they will update your criminal record with the Arizona Department of Public Safety, which is sort of the clearinghouse that keeps track of all these records. They will give you an annotation by your conviction that says conviction has been set aside or set aside, and it's going to be noted on there so that when it shows up on a background check, that's what people will see. Now, if you've been convicted of a felony, there are other things that we can do as well. We can restore your rights, which means you have the right to vote again. In certain situations, a judge will give you the right to possess a firearm again. That's good. You can get all of that stuff back so that you can feel like you're more of a member of society, but it still is a little bit lacking in teeth, in my opinion. We think that there's more that you should be able to do, but this is the best that we can do under Arizona law as it stands today. You can also use that order that you get that's signed off on by a judge and show that to anybody who has a problem with it. You can say, look, I have a signed, stamped order from a judge that says I have been relieved of all the penalties and all the liabilities associated with the underlying conviction. That's what the statute says. It's 13-907. It says you're going to be relieved of all the penalties and liabilities that are associated with the underlying conviction. I have a lot of other videos on the details on exactly what a motion to set aside is and what it does. There are some things that you cannot set aside. There are certain rules and things that you need to follow. There's certain criteria that are important to consider. But that's the long and the short answer is you have to file a motion to set aside your conviction. I'd want to make a note that there are some exceptions if you're a minor, or if you're a minor who's tried as an adult and you complete probation within a certain period of time, you can seal those records. But by and large, if you're over 18 and you're convicted of a crime, you have to file a motion to set aside your conviction. It's also important to note that if you have a case, you're charged with a crime, and that case is later dismissed or is pled down to something that's not criminal, like a civil violation, there will still be a record that it existed. Even if it's dismissed, even if it's reduced down to a civil, even if you go take diversion or something like that, people will be concerned that they can still look up their record and see that they were charged with that. The general rule of thumb is if it hits this court system, it hits the system and there's no way to go about getting it gone. The more important question that you want to know is, what is the disposition of the case? So you can have a whole series of case history, but what's the final line say? What's the bill? What's the outcome? You want to make sure that it's a dismissal, or if it's already been something that you pled guilty to and you have a conviction for, the conviction has been set aside. You file that under ARS 13-907. If you go there, there's a list of different factors that you need to consider prior to filing this motion. If you want our help with it, we're happy to work you through it. We offer free case evaluations, so you give us a call. We'll see if it's something we can do. We want to make sure that it's not one of those exceptions to the rule that you cannot set aside. We want to make sure that we know what your goals are. Why do you want to go about this? And then we can decide if it's going to be a good fit for you and if it's likely to be granted or not before you would even consider doing it. So give us a call. Absolutely free case evaluations. We'll get you scheduled. We'll review your case. We'll make sure we can help. We look forward to speaking with you soon, and thanks for watching.